The night was moonless, and the road ahead seemed to swallow the feeble glow of the headlights. John's grip on the steering wheel tightened as he navigated the winding path that cut through the dense forest. It was the kind of darkness that seemed to have a weight of its own, pressing against the car windows and casting eerie shadows that danced in the periphery of his vision. John's heart raced as he tried to shake off the sense of unease that had settled in his chest. He had always been uncomfortable driving at night, and tonight's journey had him on edge more than ever. Thoughts of horror stories and urban legends he had heard over the years swirled in his mind, fueled by the isolation of the road. As he rounded a bend, his eyes caught something up ahead. A figure stood by the side of the road, bathed in the feeble glow of the headlights, a hitchhiker. The man's face was hidden in the shadows of a tattered hood, but John could feel the intensity of his gaze. A shiver ran down his spine as he approached the stranger, his instincts screaming at him not to stop. Ignoring the urge to pick up the hitchhiker, John stepped on the gas, his heart pounding in his chest. He stole a quick glance in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the man disappearing into the darkness. To his surprise, the figure remained there, shrinking in the distance but never quite vanishing from view. As minutes turned into an hour, John's confusion grew. He had covered a significant distance, yet every time he looked in the rearview mirror, the hitchhiker was still there, a haunting presence that refused to be left behind. His pulse quickened, and a sense of dread settled over him. How was this possible? Was it a prank? A trick of the mind? With his nerves fraying, John decided to put some distance between himself and the persistent hitchhiker. He pressed down on the accelerator, the engine's roar filling the air. The road stretched ahead, seemingly endless, and for a moment he dared to hope that he had finally escaped the unsettling figure. But as he glanced in the rearview mirror, his heart sank. There he was again, the hitchhiker, standing by the side of the road as if he had never moved. Panic clawed at John's throat, and he accelerated even further, desperate to outrun the inexplicable phenomenon that seemed to be unfolding before his eyes. The road became a blur as John's fear-fueled determination turned into reckless abandon. He was trapped in a nightmarish loop, the hitchhiker an ever-present specter haunting his every turn. He could feel his sanity slipping, his mind grappling with the impossibility of the situation. And then, in a moment of desperate realization, John slammed on the brakes. The car screeched to a halt and he turned to face the hitchhiker with a mixture of fear and fury.
"What do you want from me?"
he shouted, his voice quivering. The figure raised its head, finally revealing its face. John's heart stopped as he stared into his own eyes, a mirror image of himself twisted into a sinister grin.
"You,"
the doppelganger whispered, its voice a chilling echo of his own.
"I've been searching for a ride, for redemption. You see, I died on this road years ago, killed in a car accident just like this one."
John's heart froze in his chest. The realization was a bone-chilling revelation. Could this really be the spirit of someone who had perished on this forsaken road? But before he could react, the hitchhiker reached out, his cold, bony fingers brushing against John's arm. The world warped and twisted around them. Suddenly, John found himself alone on the side of the road, drenched to the bone with a thumb outstretched, while his car, with his own terrified face behind the wheel, sped away into the distance. The hitchhiker had stolen his body, his life, his very existence. John watched in horror as his own body disappeared into the night, leaving him stranded on the dark road, destined to hitchhike for all eternity. The rain continued to fall, washing away any trace of the life he once knew. John was now the hitchhiker, a lost soul trapped in an endless cycle of seeking redemption from unwitting travelers on a never-ending road to nowhere. As he stood alone in the downpour, a grim realization settled in his mind. He was the hitchhiker who would haunt this forsaken road for all time, an eternal prisoner of his own choices.